Hey everybody, what's good? It is your boy BQ, Impact Lounge, #1 place to be for the Impact Wrestling fan. This is the Cool Factor podcast. This is kind of a special edition of the Cool Factor. It is me solo once again. TW is on vacation. This is kind of a special edition because we weren't originally going to do a show at all because it was the IPWF and there was no way in hell I was going to review that. And then when they put this on, I still wasn't really going to review it. You know, this multitude of matches happened a week and a half ago. You know, it aired on Impact on Tuesday. I'm recording this on a Monday. I was sitting here watching the WNBA draft in my office, and I was like, you know what? I can knock out a quick review on this because there's some people who in the comments want to leave their thoughts, and you want to have the conversation with each other. And I'm sure some people are curious my thoughts of the show as well too. So I'm going to run down this card real quick, just some general thoughts. I'm not going to get, too in depth. This will be a shorter show, but I still want to touch a little bit on the multitude. I keep calling it the multitude, the multiverse of matches. It is a multitude. Um, this again, as I just said, initially they were going to do the IPWF, which was a horrible idea. I understand some of you like it, but most of you don't. And the comment or the point I was trying to make about a week ago or so is that Impact can't take weeks off. They're not a company. Their brand is not strong enough to be like, hey, this week we're going to phone it in. That's why I get mad every year when they do the best of shows and all that. Like, I don't care about those. And maybe that's just me. A lot of you guys do. I don't think they're a company that can take weeks off. And when you say, "Hey, we're going to put IPWF on TV this week," that's like throwing in the white towel. Like we're not doing anything this week. We are taking a vacation. I don't think they can afford that. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to put that show on TV. And someone was a voice of reason. Obviously, he was like, "Yo, that show sucks. Nobody wants to watch it. Multitude, I keep calling it that, Multiverse of Matches was good. People do want to watch it. I paid for it, so I was a little upset it was on TV a week later, but it's whatever. Um, someone just had half a brain that was like, we can't put that on TV. So thank God they did the right thing, in my opinion, and in many of your opinions too. I know that for a fact. I talked to enough of you guys that I maybe saw 3 people that thought it was a good idea to put IPWF on TV. And the reason I saw those 3 people is because it was 3 comments when they was announced that the Multiverse of Matches was going to be on. I saw 3 people comment that they were disappointed they wanted to watch the other shit show. Okay, so let's get into these results here real quick. I'm not going real in depth. Just going to give you guys my thoughts, and then you can drop your thoughts as well. So the X Division Championship was defended. Ultimate X. They said, "Oh, the return of Ultimate X." They like to say the return of Ultimate X like we don't have one of these matches every few months. I mean, it's not like old school rules where we have it every other week, but I mean it's not that rare. It's often enough that you don't have to say it's the return, If you were to be like the return of Lockdown, I get that. We haven't seen that in years. We just saw Ultimate X in January, but whatever. That's nitpicky shit. Trey Miguel defended the title against Jordan Gray, so this is the first intergender Ultimate X match. Chris Bay, Blake Christian, Vincent, and Rich Swann. So this is a pretty good field. Initially, it had Speedball Mike Bailey and Willie Mack in it. They added Blake Christian, and I want to say Vincent was the other one they threw in there. I could be wrong. I want to say it was Vincent that either him or Chris Bay were the one that subbed in. A lot of you guys seem to like Vincent. I don't see it. I mean, when he's on my screen, I'm like, whose uncle is this? But again, a lot of you guys like him. He doesn't really do it for me. Rich Swann. I love Rich Swann. And TW and I talk about a lot that Impact really did him a disservice with the Kenny Omega feud and how he's been handled since. But this we knew Trey Miguel was going to win, but this was a good match. We knew he was going to win, but but it was a good match. It was fun. We enjoyed it. And I saw some people online kind of say that it was missing something or just didn't deliver they thought in the way I thought it would. This was a house show Ultimate X match. Like they weren't going to go crazy, go balls to the wall, but they did enough to keep us entertained, I think. I think the other side of it too was that this was like basically this was an iPay-per-view. This wasn't like the monthly specials. This was an episode of Impact. And even though they have pretty shit production quality, it's still decent enough quality for a pay-per-view or something like that. You know what I mean? Like this was Fight TV, iPay-per-view. You couldn't hear people, you couldn't hear the music, you could hear the announcers super loud. So I think people were still adjusting to what they were hearing and what they were seeing with this match. So I think it just came off really, really indie at first. But if you were to go back and watch it, you'd probably enjoy it a little bit more. The finish was a little, I don't want to call it flat, just kind of out of nowhere. You know, it was a iPay-per-view finish. It was a house show finish for Ultimate X. But Chris Bay is, excuse me, not Chris Bay. Trey Miguel is moving on to Rebellion. We knew he was going to win this match. There's no surprises there. There were some surprises on this show. The word I can use though is just weird. There was a lot of really weird finishes. One of them being Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green versus Nick Aldis and Mickie James. I'm not trying to say this as some expert booker because I don't know shit about booking, but as a wrestling fan and a content creator and someone who wants stories, why the hell did Aldis and Mickie James win this match? And I didn't hear it with my own ears, but I was reading online that Nick Aldis and Mickie James were actually getting booed during this match. It was probably Aldis because no one boos Mickie James. That's asinine. It probably had to do with Aldis getting booed. But this Mickie James and Chelsea Green story was the slowest burning thing they had going in 2022. And then all of a sudden they just threw this match together, one that we would think is going to be on the pay-per-view. Now they have their reasons, I'm sure. Maybe Aldis didn't want to do an Impact pay-per-view. Who knows what it was? I'm sure there was a reason for it. But for us, the fans, just outside looking in and just trying to enjoy a show, we see this slow burn storyline that all of a sudden just has this mixed tag match put together out of nowhere, and then the feud culminates out of nowhere. I don't know why they had to do a double tap out. You might as well just have Chelsea Green lose if someone's going to lose, not the guy that holds like 7 titles, including the NWA World Championship. Nobody in that place was trying to see Nick Aldis beat Matt Cardona. Nobody. I don't even know where the hell you go after this. I don't know what you can do after this. The feud's over. Like they won. They won with a double tap out. Like that's not. It wasn't a sneaky finish. It wasn't a BS finish. Like they won clean. They tapped both of them out. The feud is over. Where can you possibly take this with Chelsea Green and Mickie James right now? If we turn on the episode next week and they're like, oh well, now we got to go old school or some shit or another Texas death match or something, I'm gonna be pissed off. This is what the end of the feud should have been on a bigger stage than a Fight TV iPay-per-view with shit sound quality. The match kind of disappointed. It wasn't that good, but I really like Chelsea Green. I really like Mickie James. I'm really enjoying Cardona. And as someone who watches NWA, I guess I have some interest in Nick Aldis too. But I was looking forward to the match. My cat just jumped up into the wall like a weirdo, if you heard a big loud bang. It was a match I was looking forward to. I just didn't think it was that good. And then as a wrestling fan, I didn't like the finish. After this, we got Speedball Mike Bailey versus Alex Shelley. This match was a banger. They killed it. They delivered. This was pay-per-view quality stuff. You know, they build this as a dream match. It's not a dream match. Okay? It's a good match. It was a great match they put together. Nobody was dreaming this one up like, yo, Speedball Mike Bailey, who's had 5 matches in Impact Wrestling, and we had never heard of him before he showed up. I would love to see him wrestle one half of the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, who's lost almost every match since coming back. Nobody's saying that. And before I get into this match, I've gone on this rant before about their dream match terminology, and that's poor marketing because they have made the term dream match mean jack shit. And I talk about that a lot. There's certain terms, certain things they do, certain matches that mean nothing. Dream match, the term dream match is one of them. Remember when the dream match of RVD versus Brian Cage, and RVD, because Brian Cage was hurt, the match happens. RVD beats him in about 2 minutes, squashes him basically. That was our dream match, you know? It isn't terminology you can throw around loosely because then when you actually have a dream match like you have with the Good Brothers and the Briscoes, you can't say you got 2 dream matches on the card and then one of them's not really a dream match. Like it waters it down. And then in marketing, these matches and promoting them, if you keep using that term and it means nothing, like you are now doing a disservice to that main event. And by calling everything up until this point, Falaba versus KM dream match, by doing all that crap up to this point, they've done this match a disservice. They actually have a match that they could call a dream match, but they've used the terminology so much in the last several years that it means nothing. And you can't promote it as such. But anyway, this match, although it was not a dream match, it was excellent. It was an X Division match that when people think X Division and people think the TNA X Division and Impact Wrestling X Division, like this is what you want to freaking see. And Shelley didn't look weak in the loss because of the roll up, Mike Bailey is the shiny new toy that Impact has, and they're using that to its extent. So we knew that he wasn't going to lose this match. But how were they going to do it? And the way they did it, I'm not a big roll-up fan, but it worked here. But this was excellent. This was an A+, this match. I rarely watch matches twice. I'd probably watch this one again. Knockouts World Tag Team Champions at Influence took on Tasha Steele, Savannah Evans, Decay, and the team of Giselle Shaw and Lady Frost. We knew the Influence were going to win this match. They're probably going to feud with the Inspiration until I'm an old man, until I'm in my 50s. That's kind of where it feels like that's going. They just keep fighting. They just keep having, I'm not complaining about that because I actually like the feud and I like the teams, but they're probably going to Rebellion to fight each other again. We knew Tasha Steeles and Savannah Evans were going to win. Tasha Steeles already has a title. Rosemary is the #1 contender. My biggest takeaway from this was that Giselle Shaw and Lady Frost is the team we didn't know we needed. They didn't have any BS dissension. Like they kind of had a little one-upsmanship when they were coming down to the ring, but there wasn't weird dissension. They had tandem moves and they were doing double teams and they were tagging in and out and they worked. Now, I think Giselle Shaw would be a great tag team with Chelsea Green, and I think Lady Frost would be a good one with Taya Valkyrie. But if this is what they're doing, a babyface heel dynamic, I'm cool with it. This was the one I brought this up before as well. This was the one feud in the Knockouts division in the past several years, an actual storyline feud that wasn't based on or centered around a title or titles. or the Undead Realm. Other than that, there's no knockouts feuds. You know, like who was Jordan Grace feuding with when she didn't have a title? You know, who was Rosemary feuding with when they weren't the champions? You know, or Decay, whatever. So I don't know if that storyline was to ultimately bring them together. You know, I guess we'll see. But I kind of dug it. I kind of liked it, and these are both girls that I'm really 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 into. I'm a big fan of both. So the influence wins. We knew they were going to win. There was a higher chance of me winning the match than one of these other teams. After this, we had Eddie Edwards versus Tomohiro Ishii. I'm not a fan of this never open weight strong style shit. I don't even know what you're supposed to call that style of wrestling. The no selling and the chops and all stuff. Not my cup of tea. Many of you may like it. I don't. So I was kind of having a hard time getting into this match. This was another weird finish because Eddie Edwards loses. He was the one guy in Honor No More where you're like, he's not going to lose any matches. These Honor No More guys, they were the coolest storyline going. After Eddie turned, it fizzled out. They just lose. They're just there to lose if they're even on the show at all. Now Eddie Edwards is losing against someone not in the company that gains nothing from this win. I think he's wrestling Gresham right at the Rebellion. Don't they have a match against each other? Or am I pulling that out of my ass? Still, Eddie needed this win. No, no, no. I'm sorry. Eddie's against Gresham, right? Yeah. So where am I getting Ishii versus Gresham? Maybe they have a match on TV coming up or something like that. I don't know. But Eddie Edwards challenging for the Ring of Honor championship does not need to be losing to someone not in the company. If you're trying to massage New Japan's vaginas and be like, oh well, we can't beat one of their guys, and why the hell did Jay White lose in a match that he should have won? We're gonna get to that here in a little bit. But this was a really weird finish. Maybe a lot of you were just like that. It doesn't hurt Eddie. I think it hurts him because Honor No More, like they've beat everybody. Everybody has been beaten from that team. They're not the Nexus. They're not taking over. Like we thought this was like a takeover storyline. That's not. Maria Kanellis is not even on TV. Mike Bennett is not even on TV. You know, I don't think Matt Taven's won a match in Impact. Kenny King certainly hasn't, and I'm not counting the 5-man where they were allowed to stay. Why? Okay, so now they're resting on their laurels like here, and we're just good. Like there's so much more that this team should be doing. Eddie Edwards should be. I mean, he's a shit promo, but he should be talking every week or doing something every week that we turn on the TV and be like, what is Eddie Edwards gonna do this week? You know, you finally turned the dude heel, and he's just a bad guy. Like there's nothing. They're not doing anything special with him. He had his green outfit on. I think he was trying to say he's representing Noah with the colors. He does not need to be wearing his babyface outfit. Like he wore this freaking outfit every day, every match for what felt like 5 years. That's a lot of the reason he started. Not a lot of the reason, but that is part of the reason he started getting really stale. The presentation of Eddie Edwards was the same shit every time. You know, the kendo stick and walking around the back, stab me, or whoever he's yelling at. So when they changed his look, I was all for that. I don't care if he's wrestling for Pro Wrestling Noah. Don't wear your babyface gear, dude. But I just this was weird. Another weird match. Josh Alexander teaming with Jonah against PCO and Moose. I don't understand why they broke up the teams the way they did. I don't know why Jonah wasn't with Moose and PCO wasn't with Josh Alexander because you're trying to turn. I don't say turn. You're trying to make PCO a heel. I mean, excuse me, a baby face. But you put him with the heel. And maybe it's because Moose left him at the end. That was supposed to get him over. But then he just got double teamed where the sympathy is now on PCO. So it, it takes away from us being excited about Josh Alexander winning a match. But then Jonah weirdly is like fist bumping him at the end where it's like almost like a bait. This was so fucking strange to me. As far as the match, though, what I will say is that it's become a treat to see Moose compete and to see him wrestle. He's always doing other stuff, which is fine. I don't like overexposing a champion. I don't think champions should wrestle that much. That's one thing Impact is pretty good at. Their world champion doesn't wrestle a whole lot. They find other ways to make him interesting. So it's become a treat to see him out there. You know, he's so impressed, like his physique and everything. He's so impressive that when we do get to see him wrestle, it's a big deal. I just don't understand why they split up the teams like this. And again, we knew who was going to win. You know, they're going to give Josh all the momentum in the world. But as I said last week when he took out Madman Fulton, and I said it did more for Fulton than him, I thought this did more for PCO and Jonah than it did for Josh. You know, it did more for PCO because he had the sympathy at the end. And then Jonah got the little fist bump. So he's like Mr. Cool for a second. And he's always impressive in the ring. I thought this was Josh Alexander benefited the least from this. So again, just weird finish. Then we had Deonna Purrazzo versus Fabi Apache. Uh, people were not expecting her. They were, I don't know who they were expecting. It wasn't her. And I think people were pretty disappointed that she came out. This was definitely like a fight TV type of open challenge. But people were hoping for a bigger deal, but we got the bigger deal after, so it's okay. Good match. Everything. I was watching this and I'm just like, yo, Deonna Purrazzo doesn't have a bad match, and she doesn't cheat to beat anybody. Like she just out wrestles everybody, and that's fun. That's what when you like at the end of the show when you say, oh, this is a dream match, and then you have a fuck finish. Like you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like Deonna Purrazzo doesn't need to cheat. She doesn't need a fuck finish. She doesn't need Ray Wall to jump out the booth and hold someone's leg down while she pins. Like she just beats people. You know, it is. I enjoy every one of her opponents. I mean, every one of her matches. I should say. Doesn't matter who her opponent is. You know, um, my if her opponent was my Uncle Hector, you know, like I would still be really excited about it. So she does a great job. After the match, Taya Valkyrie comes out, and this is what I was hoping they were going to build to her challenging for the AAA championship. That's where I was hoping they were going with it. That is where they're going with it. I think Taya Valkyrie's back in Impact. I don't really know, but you know, we'll see. We'll see if she's going to be around or if it's just a one-time thing or what it is. But this is a match that will probably steal the show at Rebellion. Jay White versus Chris Sabin. This was another match that was really, really good. It wasn't quite Speedball Mike Bailey and Alex Shelley, but this was really good as well. This was to continue the Bullet Club versus Motor City Machine Guns 50-50 booking feud that they got going on. I cannot believe Chris Sabin won this match. So when Ishii won earlier, I was like, okay, well, maybe they don't want to piss off New Japan. You know how Impact is with New Japan. The New Japan guy has to win. That's what I'm thinking is going on. And then Jay White comes out here and loses. Like, if one of your guys was going to lose from New Japan, it should be the 55-year-old guy that's not involved in any storylines against the dude who's getting ready to wrestle for the ROH World Championship. So this is the feud it's a feud that's the gift that's gonna keep on giving. This feud is not gonna stop. It's not gonna go away, which is fine. It's a good one. It's a good feud. Bullet Club, Motor City Machine Guns. This is good stuff. I don't know if those teams are going to be involved in that 8-team match. I think they have to, because if they don't, I'm going to have to compete. So I don't know if or maybe they're doing something separate. I don't exactly know, but it was good. The finish was weird, and then you had Steve Macklin come out at the end. You guys got to let me know if I'm missing something here. Tom Hannafin tried to be like, oh, well, he said he's going to take out all of Team Impact. Macklin hasn't been on TV in 2 weeks. Did he say that? And if he did say that, why isn't he on TV? So I don't understand. It just seems like we have to get as many people on the card as possible. So we're just gonna pull this random three-way match out of thin air. Since when do you have a triple threat match that doesn't have stakes? That doesn't make I don't get that. That's like on a video game you have a triple threat match just for the fuck of it. But usually if you have a triple threat, there's a number one contendership on the line, there's a title, there's some kind of stakes, there's some kind of something on the line. So it's for me they just throwing that match together. I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. So that is at Rebellion. So that means Bullet Club's not necessarily fighting most of the machine guns, unless it's like the Good Brother. Are we getting the Good Brothers versus Motor? No, because they're in that match too. I don't know. All I know is they're going to put as many people on Rebellion as possible. But yeah, again, just weird finish. And then we had the main event, the real dream match. It wasn't a dream match for me because I don't like the Good Brothers, but I was still intrigued with it. There's any team that uh, you're saying, hey, the Briscoes are coming to Impact, or it doesn't matter who they wrestled Josh Matthews and Dr. Ross. I'll be like, okay, I want to see that. So the Briscoes just had a match with FTR prior to this. Really good match, really excellent match. So this was just kind of there. Maybe I have to watch it again to see if it was a good match, but I just feel like maybe it's because I just watched them wrestle FTR. The Good Brothers are not FTR. I don't even know that the Good Brothers are good. They were attached to the Bullet Club when they were very hot. They were in WWE for a bit. But other than that, I don't know that we have any actual evidence that this team is good or that they're popular, you know? But they end up winning fuck finish, and they beat the Briscoes. Now, with that being said, that means the Briscoes are going to continue to be on Impact programming. They're not going to be at Rebellion, but they'll be at the subsequent tapings. And then who knows? I don't know that Impact can afford to sign them and the not Motor City Machine Guns, the Good Brothers, and then have the Bullet Club guys and Motor City Machine Guns on the roster. I mean, yes, they can afford it. I just don't think it's unless they feel like there's some imminent growth coming. I don't know that you pay the Briscoes and the Good Brothers. I'd rather them just let the Good Brothers walk and utilize the Briscoes. The problem is they kind of need both teams to stick around because they're going to have the same problem if they get rid of guys to sign the Briscoes. They're going to have the same problem as when they had the Good Brothers when they spent all this money to sign them, and then they're like, oh, we don't have anyone for them to wrestle. So we're going to have to put the title on them and make them the most stale team in the history of professional wrestling. And that's kind of what it's been. So we know that the Briscoes, though, are going to get involved with the Good Brothers the next set of tapings. So is that going to be for the belts? Is it not going to be for the belts? I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if the Good Brothers didn't win these freaking titles back, which I will lose my mind. Like, Violent by Design is not leaving that 8-way match. I'm sorry. They're a definition of even though a lot of you guys like them, they're the definition of transitional tag team champions. They're like, let's put the belt on them while we're figuring this storyline out with the Good Brothers or whoever. So I do think the Good Brothers are actually going to win that match and then feud with the Briscoes. The Briscoes feud with them doesn't need the belts. Make that perfectly clear. But that's probably what they're going to do. So overall, good show, fun show. It was an pay-per-view. I wouldn't say I liked it as much as a lot of the YouTube specials they do. I think those have been better, even though this was a card that was marketed and promoted to be a much bigger deal than all those. I didn't really get that. I thought this was good. I was entertained, but I didn't love it. I didn't give it like an A+ or anything. I think the Impact pay-per-views and monthly specials have been better than this. So, but it was cool. I'm curious to see what the ratings are because I haven't looked, but they're probably better than when it was going to be IPWF. I guarantee you that. So that's all I got for you guys this week. I'm your boy BQ. I don't think TBW actually will be back on the next show. I think the next one. I know he's on vacation, so we will see. Thanks for checking with me, guys. I'm out. Peace.